from the campus, you're very eager to get hands-on with the technology, try things. And this is my first engagement with Citicorp, where we were supporting the city projects. So it was a great experience to work with the customers. And I was a Oracle developer back then, working on PLSQL and building up the store procedures for the banking industry. So 3 years I really established, and it gave me an opportunity to actually talk to the customers. And I did spend good amount of time in testing as well, which brought me a lot of curiosity in terms of working with the customers, because as much as I learned while testing, development did not really give that kind of an exposure. So it created a lot of interest in terms of, okay, how are the customers using it? What is the different use case and things like that. And then was a transition to SAP, to the retail domain. So I started with fashion industry, again as a hardcore developer, the proprietary language of SAP ABAP, but I was playing a techno-functional role. So that functional of me to be very closely associated with the customers was always with me. So to try out, to understand the business problems and things like that. Now, close to 10 years I've spent as a techno-functional role, working on the development and things like that. And that's when this interest of, okay, moving into the management, because I thoroughly enjoyed talking to colleagues, supporting them in their career development, having these conversations in terms of what is important, how do you do it, where do you start, and things like that. So as a natural curiosity, it turned out to be that it was quite a value adding for others as well. So natural transition into the leadership role, management role. And there was a point that I had to really look at, okay, if you're solving the business problems in current environment, you need to know the technology. So how do you solve the business problems using the technology? That started to instill curiosity in me. For last many years, I would say, I've engaged with many others to find out, to figure that out, taken some leadership positions outside of SAP, supporting in Grasshopper, holding the Grasshopper conference and things like that, which helped me to strengthen some of my technical know-how, and again, look at transitioning to IoT. So that's in short the journey from banking to retail to IoT.
So how did you get skilled in IoT? How did you learn about it?
So I would say curiosity first. And the second important factor is solving the business problems. So working in the retail domain, I think I did closely work with multiple of Fortune 500 customers in the retail domain, trying to understand what are some of the challenges that they go through. And I was always active in participating in some internal challenges that SAP was having with respect to solving the customer business problem, or maybe contributing it to the industry as well. So this helped me to build in that, okay, what is the technology shift that is happening, what is required. And again, the important thing was also I did the chair role for Big Data IoT Cloud in Grasshopper conference. So that exposed me to a lot of technology aspects in terms of how is the industry moving, what are some of the companies doing. So that also gave me a reskilling, I would say, in terms of the concepts, trying to understand. And then I looked at an opportunity within SAP itself and made the career shift.
So I think that's quite typical of people who moved into this a few years ago, because you had to do self-learning, you had to learn on the job, you had to find opportunities. So I'm just going to talk about Future Skills Prime for a minute here for people who are actually listening in, saying that a lot of the stuff that you had to do on your own currently is now available on the Future Skills Prime platform, which is free to access. So lots of stuff that Shailaja is talking about, which she had to do on her own, is already curated for you and is available. So please go and check it out, all those who are listening in. You will see links on the chat and you can access it. So let me now, Shailaja, ask you for, this is for the people who are on the call today and joined us to say, how do we think of transitioning to a role in IoT? Where would someone begin?
I would say start with the curiosity to learn the topic, because that's where the first segment would come. Because I would definitely second with you in terms of when I started, I had to literally go through a lot of content, because I also want to have my basics strong. And many a times you wouldn't know which content is right, and sometimes you also end up getting only 10-20% of the right content that you're looking for after going through hours of video. So the second step is find the right right information, and that's where I would also say that no, the platforms like Future Skill, which is getting curated along with the industry experts. So I really wish that I had something like that, which no, I saw the zigzag course as well. I was going through the details, 52 hours of a course, which actually gives me a complete end-to-end understanding of what it is and things like that. So that is the second one that I would say, that understanding the breadth of it, because IoT, if you talk about, I think the person that you are speaking to will know it differs in terms of what exactly they actually mean by IoT. So somebody talks about the sensors as something that is dealing with IoT. Then there is also the communication, the network, and then there is all this IT related with respect to application building analytics. So it's a vast subject in itself. So trying to understand first what is the depthness of it in terms of which are all the elements that are there, and then figuring out, okay, where do I put my efforts? So whether is it application development, the IT side of it, or the OT side of it, which is the operational technology with sensors, connectivity, and things like that. Based on that, it is easy to figure out one particular aspect and then kind of move on from there.
So, from what I understand, what you're saying is there are maybe two categories of roles at a high level on IoT. And is there any other categories that they fall into? I think when we were speaking last, you said there are actually three types of roles that you can think of when you're looking at an IoT track. So one was the developer, one is the OT. Is there a third one, or did I get that wrong?
Yeah, I think from a job profiles perspective, Kirti, that they are any software development or any project that you take, maybe I'll talk from a customer point of view, it will need all the different roles if you are doing a product development. So one side of it is OT, which is more to do with how do you come up with the sensors, or how do you make the sensors itself more from a quality perspective, bit robust, or from a cost perspective, how do you reduce the cost, which will increase the adoption of these sensors and things like that. And from a IT perspective, all the other roles that you see in the industry, whether it could be a testing or whether it could be definition of what should be the platform features. So right from the product development, or it could be from all the other roles, which is to do with the regular supporting roles of how do you run a project, from the project management, release management, or it could be on the DevOps as well. Because when you talk about IoT, it is all about how do you build the applications and deploy the application on cloud and access from there. So which means that you need to have a robust mechanism of deploying the applications and all the DevOps features of it. And again, security, because today I don't know, in this world we have to have the security as the first before we even get into the products, right? So all the security roles, how do you take care of the security, ensuring that there's no data breach, or ensuring that you are able to take care of the personal data and all the regulations, legal regulations you might have in a particular country.
So when someone is looking to get into this, these technologies and these applications, would it be fair to say that these technologies work together? So you can't think of IoT without cybersecurity, or you can't think of IoT without cloud, or you can't think of IoT without maybe big data, because there's all this data that is being captured. Is there a bouquet of technologies that you need to learn about, or is there something known as just IoT?
Yeah, at least I'll start from the last statement. There's nothing called just IoT, right? So IoT is a combination of all of this. But does that mean that I need to know all? I would say no. Do I have to be a security expert? Do I have to know the sensors? Do I have to know the networks, the connectivity? Maybe not. When I say this, it is not that you should not understand it, but it is not that you don't have to build an expertise into it. But what is definitely important is a basic understanding of elements that are there and how are they interconnected and what is the role that they play in the IoT ecosystem. Because if that basic understanding is missing, irrespective of if you understand the sensors very well as well, if you don't really understand the connectivity that is being used, then the overall output that you can deliver might actually come down. So all in all, it is important to know all the different aspects of IoT, but expertise you can build on no particular domain, that again, depending on the education that you are coming from or your area of interest, that you can always choose one particular area.
So when you're hiring people or new people who are entering either the job market for the first time, or people who are already in jobs and wanting to transition into this kind of space, what do you look for? What is the existing skill set that you look for, that on which we can build this kind of new knowledge, or new knowledge of this technology, or the connectivity that you are talking about?
Yeah, so I'll take this question in two different user profiles, Kirti. One, somebody who is directly joining out of college, and what are the conversations that happen. One, somebody with an experience where there is a reskilling that is happening and they're entering into the IoT domain. So coming with the students who are getting into the industry, right? The first thing that I would look at is whether they have the curiosity to learn. So now, how do I know the curiosity? The first question would be that, can you tell me what are the projects that you have done? Can you tell me, what is that you have gone through? So many a times what happens is the interviewers, they only come back and say that, what, I have done this certification. I am this certified. I'm that certified. But then when we get into the details of, can you explain what happens in this, or what do you mean by certain aspects, you really don't get an answer. So that's the first thing, that certification is important, but second aspect of hands-on is very important. As it goes, right, that I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. So which means that nothing will beat the hands-on. You need to get your hands dirty. And today I think the availability of different it could be the Arduino boards, or for the connectivity purpose, I think there are a lot of DIY projects that are available. Just go ahead and try these DIY projects, which will give you that hands-on in terms of, okay, how does the sensor work? How can I share the information? How is it shown on the cloud? How can I build a simple application to consume and show it maybe on a mobile app? So everything is available. So curiosity, and for especially the college students, maybe if they can showcase in terms of what is that they've already done. So that would be, I would say, the ask from the during the recruitment process. For somebody who is reskilling from a different technology or different domain, I think the first would be more in terms of their understanding itself, that what is the domain knowledge that they have, their own domain. So how are they able to articulate it? Are they able to connect from their experiences? Because if, say, you are hiring for a application developer, now is a person able to really understand a bigger picture, are able to solve the problem by stepwise instructions? So which means that you need to be really good at what you're doing, and use those strengths, leverage those strengths when you are changing a career shift. So this also reminds me of a conversation I know we recently had, where we were recruiting for the team. So it was again, we were recruiting, we were doing an interview for a person with a lateral interview. So we did give a problem statement, and it took us at least 15-20 minutes to make the person understand the problem. And then my architect, who is actually taking the interview, came and said, Shailja, if I have to let the person know what the problem is and really break it down to a very minute level, I myself can go ahead and do the rest of it as well. So which means that what is important is the understanding and articulation, because many a times we don't give a focus on the articulation as well. So how do you build those skills? And then how do you show that you are actually open for IoT? Because that holds good for me as well. When I appeared for my interview, the first question that my leader asked me was, Shailja, you have not worked in IoT. Now, how do we know that you will pick up the topic? You tell us, no? How can you show that learnability in you? So you need to really have the supporting statements to say that, okay, these are the 10 things that I did, or 2-3 things that I did, which differentiates me. And because of which I can tell you that, I'm eager, or I can pick up the topic fast, and I'm able to contribute. And you can also see the complementary skills. So if you are already a DevOps person, and if you've already done it, it is the same in the IoT. So the domain is going to change, but you can also always look for what complementary skills you bring in.
So, is it fair to think about the fact that if you're looking at building IoT applications, your domain knowledge needs to be pretty strong?
Domain knowledge, yes, definitely needs to be strong, because otherwise many a times what happens is we build it as a technical solution, but
Hmm.
we need to build a solution that solves a customer problem. That will only happen if you understand the domain. But do you really need to be an expert at the time of while you are appearing for the interview, that you need the domain knowledge? I would say no. But while you are working on the project, you can always it's important to understand and build that knowledge, but that you can do it over a period of time.
But this is something we had done a research report last year, and we had asked, companies, what do they look for, and what came out was this concept of composite skills, where people said that you need to in today's world, because there are so many things coming together, it's this problem solving mindset that you have to look at and solution building that you have to look at. You have to have your domain expertise, technical expertise, and also the professional skills expertise, how to work with teams, the project management that you talk about, the communication skills that you talked about, collaboration. That unless you have this all three coming together, then somebody else is going to have to lead you, and you're not, you won't be able to contribute to the team as well. Have you any examples of anybody in your team who made the transition from something uh, not related to IoT and then into this workspace?
Yeah,
This.
I do have many examples, Kirti. In fact, last 1 year itself, we've done a lot of recruitment within the team, and 60-70% of the joinees the team, they don't come with the IoT knowledge, the prior IoT knowledge. Now it could be in the testing profile as well, where maybe they have participated earlier in on-prem testing, but now we are talking about IoT is a cloud testing. But then what did we look at in the person is more in terms of the learnability, and then the strongness with which the person has a command over what the person has already done. Because
Mm,
picking up how do you do a cloud testing would not take much of the time, as long as you show that learnability and show that you understand what you are doing, and you are able to connect, have a bigger picture, and also able to articulate. So I completely agree with you in the survey results in terms of the three elements that are required, because those are the ones that will start differentiating. Many a times when I look at it, especially at the early career level, the focus is more in terms of uh, only on the technology, that okay, I need to know how to develop an API, or how to work on using Java, Spring Boot, or things like that, but kind of miss on the bigger picture. So I think that is very important, to have that bigger picture and be able to connect things.
You're making it sound actually quite simple to get into a job role which involves, a role connected with IoT, because you're saying as long as you're curious, you have the learning ability, the ability to articulate what you've done clearly, then learning the basics of, or learning what is required, will not be hard. Is
Yes,
that what
yes
you're
and no, I
indicating?
would say, because it
Okay.
is not also a cakewalk as well, that today I decide and then tomorrow. Because when I say the curiosity, the learning, how do I show that? Because I need to invest effort, right? So if I come back and tell Kriti, what I know, I can learn, but how do I prove it? You would also want the proof points. So
Hmm.
preparing for those proof points, now it could be the hands-on that I might do, or it could be in terms of the projects, or it could be in terms of taking up some additional topics related to it, or if you are in a bigger corporation where you have opportunities, doing a stretch assignment in that particular area, or picking up certain internships if it is college students. So these are some of the areas, because you need to prove, and obviously the other person without the proof points, they would not go by what we say. So that way it is not as simple as I said, that you can, if you have the willingness to learn, you can move, but it also comes with the hard work and the right efforts that a person puts in.
We are at Future Skills Prime, where we have created this partnership between NASCOM and the government about this learning platform, which has all this learning content about foundation skills on IoT, or there are job roles linked to IoT. Right now, I think there are no job role linked courses, but there is a foundation course on IoT. There are also some pathways on, just overviews, is what we call digital fluency, about what is IoT, what are the applications of IoT. But if I was wanting to make a transition, would it help if I actually did a course like this, or you're saying just the course is not good enough, you have to do a little bit more?
I would say that this is a starting point because again, if I take my own experience, right, I did go through a team number of YouTube videos, and my takeaway from the YouTube videos, I would say, would be I think if I say 20% also would be quite high, because they were all random, and then you were trying to get hold of the best ones that you can learn and give you the bigger picture and things like that. But what we have right now in the Future Skills platform, which I personally have gone through as well, is a curated one, so which is with a specific, because there is a clear beginners, what are the things that you need to know, what are some of the terminologies, and how do you look at the census part of it, how is the connectivity involved. So there is an information about each and every piece. So to me, definitely this is a starting point. And then on top of it, it is again a hands-on, because again, even in the masterclass that we did with NASCOM on Industry 4.0, there are a lot of do-yourself links that we have provided, where a person can get and try hands-on. So today's world, it is very easy to try out these experiments and figure it out, because then you will actually remember and you can also tell somebody about it.
Yeah, because we, as we just keep going down tom-tomming all over the world that, oh, there's this course, do this course, everything will be great once you do this course. And when I heard you, I said, oh, but most of it is, if you need to demonstrate, then the course is not good enough. So it's good to know that you're saying take it as a starting point. Maybe that also then enables you to ask your organization for the kind of assignments that will give you the hands-on. And even in college, I suppose you could look for those kind of projects then, because you're at least prepared, you know what to do about it. Would that be a fair interpretation of what you said?
Yes, college definitely have a lot of platform, and again, going based on the experience that we have, usually we kind of give it a low importance during the actual college years itself on the
Yeah.
final projects. But definitely they are one of the stepping stones for you to get into the industry. And today you can have your own profiles, build a project, share it. And one main important thing is, I think LinkedIn also has exposed a lot of things, information to everyone. So you follow the leaders and also showcase your projects, explore. I think leverage LinkedIn is also one message that I would give. And I personally have seen that many are willing to play a role of a mentor, or willing to have the conversation if the interest is taken, and if people with experience are reached out.
That's actually a really nice tip that, LinkedIn may surprise you in the kind of resources that gives you.
Yes.
I think we are just about 8 minutes short. Maybe we should take some questions, because I can see some questions on the chat. Um, Amrita, will you help us, or should we? So I see a question that says, is IoT a part of AI?
Yeah. So artificial, so when we look at IoT, AI, ML, all of these are today used interchangeably. Now, when you look at the artificial intelligence, or maybe I'll also combine the word of machine learning as well. Now, most of this is nothing but the algorithms that exist for you to make any particular decision making. It could be in terms of video assessments that is being done, or in terms of the text analysis or things like that. So it is more about the data that you have. How are you working on the data? Now, what is IoT is predominantly a feeder to it. So all the information that you get, the sensors are actually helping you to capture. Otherwise, I remember the days when I started with development, where we used to have a lot of time spent even to input the data. Now we are able to capture all of this data and feed it for the different sources, and AI and ML is one part of a consumption, which will actually help you to analyze the data and be able to predict and do a lot more operations on the data that you're consuming. And the way I look at is IoT, I think today is actually transforming it into, maybe I should call it as a new internet. This is what many of the leaders today are saying, and we are seeing it in a real time, that it is no longer maybe a sensing of only one particular information or anything like that. But today, even while we are sleeping, also there's a lot of information that is gathered. So IoT would work as a backbone in gathering all of this information, and soon is the reality where IoT is becoming the new internet.
Somebody is asking a question very basic, and I think maybe we should repeat the answer, was what are the job roles in IoT and what are the learning paths to fit into the various roles. So I think we did refer to it, but maybe we were not clear. So I think it might be worth just repeating that to say what are the kind of job roles in IoT and what are the learning paths to fit into them.
Yeah, I would say we'll start with the pure application developer itself based on the data that you see from the IoT sensor that is captured, which means that if you're looking at a development point of view, you need to know the language. That is the pathway that you need to understand. Okay, do you build on maybe the Java Spring Boot, or if it is a UI technology, whether you use any of the HTML5 technologies, UI5 or React JS or any of these. So depending on where you would want to strengthen yourself in the application development, those are, maybe Python is also one of the language that you might have to consider. So an understanding of the architecture itself. So with that, you could always start transitioning with the developer profile. But if we are more going with the testing profile, or it could be from a security perspective and things like that, it will actually get into the intricate details of that particular job profile itself, in terms of if it is testing, yes, then you need to really understand the testing methodologies. And if you're doing it on cloud, what are the different tools that are available? How do you do the automation? Maybe it could be the scripts that you might want to do, because today we rely on 100% automation, right? So some of these skills that you will need to build.
So I think you also answered another question that was coming up on the languages that are used for programming, and you've already addressed that in your question. So people who have asked that, I hope that that answers your question. People are asking how important is IoT, seeing the future perspective. I think I'll let you answer that about how important IoT is.
Yeah, I think I will rephrase whatever I've told earlier also, that it is going to be the new internet. So now do we ask, no, are we in a position to say how important is the internet? Maybe not. So today it's look at consumer, because personally also, if you look at the Fitbits that you use to any of the gadget, I think there's a lot of sensing of the information happening and a lot of exchange. So it is going to be the new world. IoT is going to run the world. And I'm glad, and I should congratulate all the participants also for being here, because they've chosen to be here, which also inculcates that curiosity they have in the topic, and the right topic that to be associated with.
Yeah, it seems that AI seems to, win all the hotspots in all the job roles. But when I actually look around me and think of applications, it's IoT that is really everywhere. So because AI is later, the data has come in through all the connected devices, and then the AI gets to work. But actually putting it all together is really it's the real world. The IoT seems like the real world.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Shailaja. I think this was a nice overview on where to go if you want to look at a career in IoT. The Future Skills Prime platform is available to you. The links are there in the chat. Please feel free to log in and check it out. Right now, all of it is totally free. And Shailaja has just endorsed the course. She's been through it, and she says she's quite surprised at the depth and the extent of knowledge that is available there. So if you are puzzled about where to start, it really is a good place. And I think from there, once you know, you will automatically figure out what the next step should be. So thank you very much, Elja, and look forward to driving the IoT revolution.
Thank you, Kirti, and thank you for having me. I will re-emphasize the message that you have said, the starting point, because I'm still seeing the questions as well. Just go through the Zigzag course that you have there. Many of the questions that you have put across would be answered. And,
Okay.
and thanks to the NASSCOM also for coming and curating the content, which is quite intuitive and is easy for people to consume.
Thank you so much. That's it from us. Bye, folks.
Thank you.